Hello and welcome to today's video. We are here for the Overwatch League 2019 playoff prediction. So, we did this last year. I did a power ranking and so did Lameme, or not a power ranking, but a playoff prediction. I did, so did Lameme. We made a video about it. And then we had a video at the end of the season to see how wrong we were with our predictions. So, we're doing the same thing again this season. We have picked 6 teams they think will make the playoffs based on their records, and then the 2 play-in teams, which is a new thing this year in the playoffs. You have to play in a play-in game. So it's 8 teams this year. So this time I'm going to go with Lameme's predictions first. Now, just because he doesn't watch as many games, or he hasn't watched as many games, it doesn't necessarily follow all the teams as closely, all the moves and stuff that I do. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be more wrong or more right. He just, made his predictions based on what he knows, and we'll see. The difference between what we do with Overwatch League, yeah, there's a difference. Obviously, I watched a majority of games last year, and he didn't really get to watch as many. And he had, made not wrong predictions last year. That's the thing. He doesn't do power rank videos than I do. But, I'm still going to give his thoughts and, see where we're different, see where we're the same. I think it's very interesting to have 2 people's opinions on something sometimes. So, we'll start with his. So, he has for the play-in teams, the play-in team getting the 8th spot in the playoffs. He has the Vancouver Titans. We talked about this like a couple weeks ago, so I don't remember what all those reasons were. And then he has in the play-in spot the Seoul Dynasty as well. Then he has the Chengdu Hunters in 5th. In 6th, the Guangzhou Charge in 5th. The Toronto Defiant in 4th. He's got a lot of expansion teams in here. Then he's got the London Spitfire in 3rd. Then the Los Angeles Gladiators winning the Pacific Division. And the New York Excelsior winning the Atlantic Division. So he's got a lot of expansion teams. I think maybe he feels confident in the expansion teams and their ability to win. I know the Chengdu Hunters are his favorites, so I'm just going to put him in there. The Chengdu Hunters, I should say, not Chengdu. Chengdu Hunters, I know they're his favorite team. So obviously they're going to be thrown in there. Obviously I'm not going to put Seoul Dynasty not in it as well myself. So, he has the Chengdu Hunters in there. And then the Guangzhou Charge, Toronto Defiant. Very interesting picks there. Personally, I have 3 expansion teams as well. But I have... Well, he has 4, I have 3. And 2 of mine are play-in spots. So playing in ultimately getting the 8th spot, I have the Chengdu Hunters. And they're a good team. And we can see them in the playoffs this year. Lameme doesn't know how it is to have his favorite team win a game in the Overwatch League because he liked Shanghai Dragons last season. So, maybe he'll experience that this year with the Chengdu Hunters. The Paris Eternal I have also in here. I feel like of expansion teams, they are the 2nd best expansion team. Only behind the Vancouver Titans. Paris Eternal is very good. They got Soon, they got Shadowburn, so they got some good players in there, along with some other decent players from Europe. Very interesting to see an all-European team. That's not something we talked about Paris, but they are an all-European team, which is very interesting. Next, we have the... Well, I guess the thing about that, real quick, is that there's a thing between players from Korea and the Western players. It's basically Korea, China, Western players. They're all sort of different. But, it's mostly talked about the Korean players against the Western players because there's only one Chinese team. We see more Chinese players in it this year with the expansion teams. But we'll also see, we'll see a team that's all just European, which is very, very interesting. All right, back to this, though. I have the San Francisco Shock in 6th. I think they're good. Coming off of how they performed at the end of Stage 3 all the way through Stage 4 last season. They'll be a very good team. Next to get the Los Angeles Valiant. I think they'll be good. Losing Soon should impact them a little bit, but it won't be devastating like to the Gladiators losing Fissure. Next up, Vancouver Titans. I think they'll be a very good team. They do have a little bit to overcome. Never playing Overwatch League. First time for... I'm assuming most of the players haven't lived in America before. So the first time living in a different country, very far from home. And, they got a little bit to adjust to that a lot of these players had to adjust to last season. They'll be adjusting to this year. But I think they can overcome that and be a very, very good team this year. Then, and third we have the London Spitfire, the previous champions. I have them in my preseason power rankings in second. So I think it's really going to be between New York, Seoul, and London for that top 3 spots. But Seoul, no matter what their record is against London, could be the second seed because the London and New York go against each other. I think London won't be as good as New York, but I do have London in third. Winning the Pacific Division, I have the Seoul Dynasty. I think they will be improved. They will be improved, I think, from the Pacific Division. I think it's a little bit weaker of a division. You do have the Titans, who are going to be pretty good. The Shock, who are decent. Well, actually, I do have more Pacific teams in here, because we got Seoul, Vancouver, Los Angeles, Paris. Actually, I think it's 4 and 4. But Vancouver, I think, will be good, but they won't be as good as Seoul. The Valiant will take a step back from being the best team from the Pacific. The Shock still have to come up and prove something. Oh, the Hunters as well. So I have 5. It's 5 and 3. So Seoul will be the best from the division. The Titans will be decent, but not as good. Valiant take a step back. Shock still have to improve all the way to being a top contender, and the Hunters being a special team as well. I just think that they won't have enough to contend this season. For the Atlantic, we have the New York Excelsior. I have their number 1. They were a really good team last year. I think they'll just continue to be good throughout this year. And looking at that for the Atlantic, we got New York, London, and Paris. Again, Paris being expansion, they're just in there. They're barely playing in. So Pacific, obviously, has stronger teams here, I feel. But the Atlantic, you got New York and London, who are the top 2 of the top 3 teams. I think that they will be contending with each other throughout the season. And we'll sort of see what happens there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what all these teams do. Again, my predictions and Lamim's predictions in this video. Back to Lamim's predictions real quick. He's got Vancouver at 8 and Seoul at 7, both being the playing teams. Then he's got Chengdu at 6, Guangzhou at 5, Toronto at 4, London at 3. Gladiators as your Pacific champions, and New York Excelsior as the Atlantic champions. I have the Chengdu Hunters as a playing team at 8, and Paris is a playing team at 7. Those Paris Eternal. 6, San Francisco Shock. 5, Los Angeles Valiant. 4, Vancouver Titans. 3, London Spitfire. And then Seoul Dynasty as Pacific champion, and the Atlantic Division being New York Excelsior. So, between us, we have similar. New York being the Atlantic champion, and London at 3rd. I think that's our only similarities. We both think the Titans will be in Seoul Dynasty. But he's got Toronto, Guangzhou, and Los Angeles Gladiators, who I do not think will be in. And I got the Shock, Eternal, and Valiant, which he does not think will be in. So very different here, but also a couple similarities. So we'll see at the end of the season if we're right or wrong in our predictions. And we'll see you guys then.